For years, the names Yaman and Demet Özdemir have been inseparable in the hearts of fans across the globe. Their chemistry on screen was undeniable, their bond off-screen too striking to be ignored, and their story has been written and rewritten by the media, by fans, and by the whispers of gossip that refuse to die. But now, after endless speculation, countless rumors, and millions of theories, the truth about their relationship has finally come to light. And the world is stunned, because it is not the story anyone thought it would be. The world first fell in love with Can and Demet during the filming of Erkenci Kuş, the romantic comedy that became a global phenomenon. Week after week, viewers tuned in not only for the humor and the storyline but for the magnetic pull between its two leads. It wasn't just acting, everyone could see it. The way they looked at each other felt too real. The laughter they shared seemed to come from something deeper than scripted lines. And that famous kiss scene? It became the spark that ignited a wildfire of rumors. Fans were convinced, Can and Demet were more than co-stars. They were soulmates brought together by destiny. But behind the scenes, the truth was far more complicated. Both were rising stars at the time, and with rising stardom comes immense pressure. They were surrounded by cameras, critics, and expectations that could suffocate even the strongest. Can was known for his intensity and his passion, while Demet had a softness, a light that drew people in. Together, they balanced each other perfectly, but that balance was fragile. And as the rumors grew louder, as the paparazzi chased them day and night, cracks began to appear in the foundation of whatever bond they shared. Still, one cannot deny the affection that existed between them. Insiders from the set often spoke of their long conversations, their stolen moments of laughter, and the way they seemed to communicate without words. Can, usually guarded, would relax in Demet's presence. Demet, who was careful about her image, often let her guard down when Can was near. This was not the behavior of two people who shared only a professional connection. And yet, neither of them ever confirmed what fans desperately wanted to hear. Instead, they let the mystery grow, feeding the curiosity of millions who followed their every move. The truth, as it has now been revealed, is both beautiful and heartbreaking. Yes, there was love. Yes, there was something real between Can and Demet, something that went beyond friendship, beyond acting, beyond the bright lights of fame. They did fall for each other, in moments too small for the cameras to catch, in glances too quick for headlines to capture. But their love was also marked by fear. Fear of losing themselves, fear of being consumed by the industry, fear of what the world would say if they admitted it out loud. So instead of embracing their feelings, they buried them. They pretended the fire wasn't burning, even as it consumed them from within. Demet once hinted at this truth in an emotional interview years later. Her words were careful, but her eyes told the story. She admitted that sometimes, the strongest connections are the ones that can't survive in the real world. There are people you meet who change you, she said, but not all of them are meant to stay. At the time, fans speculated she was talking about Can, and now, with the confession out in the open, it is clear she was. Can, too, carried his silence like a shield. He traveled, he worked abroad, he threw himself into projects in Italy and beyond, but the shadow of that connection never left him. Even in interviews where he was asked about love, his answers often circled back to destiny, to timing, to the idea that sometimes the right person comes at the wrong time. He never named Demet, but he didn't have to. Everyone knew. So why reveal the truth now? Because time has a way of softening wounds, of turning pain into reflection. The truth that has come forward is that Can and Demet did share a love, deep, powerful, but fleeting. It was real, but it was not built to last under the weight of fame. They chose to protect their careers, their futures, and perhaps even each other, by walking away. And while the world saw smiles and laughter, behind closed doors, there were tears, there were arguments, and there were nights spent wondering if they made the right choice. The revelation has stunned fans because it confirms what many long suspected but never knew for certain. Their love was not a fantasy, it happened. It was raw, it was fragile, and it was theirs. And perhaps that is why their on-screen chemistry was so electrifying, because it wasn't entirely acting. It was fragments of something real, something they were living even as the cameras rolled. Today, their relationship is not one of lovers but of respect. Sources close to both say that despite everything, they carry no bitterness toward each other. There is sadness, yes, and perhaps regret, but also gratitude. Gratitude for having met, for having shared a moment in time that shaped them, and for giving the world a story that still leaves millions breathless. They may not be together, but they will forever be connected, through their work, through their memories, and through the love that once was. And so, the truth about Yaman and Demet Özdemir's relationship is finally revealed. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't just gossip. It was real, it was intense, and it was complicated. A love story that lived in the shadows, only to come to light years later. A story that reminds us all that even the brightest stars carry secrets, and sometimes, the greatest love stories are the ones we never get to see fully unfold. The world is stunned because the truth is more powerful than the rumors ever were. Fans dreamed of a fairy tale ending, but what they got was something far more human. A story of love, sacrifice, and choices that define us. And maybe that's why Can and Demet's names will forever be spoken together, because what they shared wasn't perfect, but it was unforgettable, and yet, the story doesn't end there. Because even after all these years, Can and Demet's paths continue to cross in ways that keep the flame of speculation alive. Whether it's being seen at the same events, mentioned in the same interviews, or simply the way their fans continue to pair their names together, destiny seems determined not to let their connection fade completely. And maybe that's the most surprising part of all, how two people can move on, create separate lives, and yet still remain tied together in the imagination of millions. For Can, every new role and every new city he works in brings him new admirers, but there is always a question lingering in the air: will anyone ever inspire him the way Demet once did? For Demet, her career has flourished, and she has grown into one of the most beloved actresses of her generation, but interviews often reveal glimpses of nostalgia, as if a piece of her heart still remembers those early days on set with him. These echoes of the past keep fans hoping, even when logic tells them the story is finished. And that is why the revelation feels so powerful. It's not just about confirming that they loved each other, it's about reminding everyone that love, in its purest form, doesn't always follow the fairy tale ending we crave. Sometimes, it teaches, it shapes, it hurts, and then it lives on quietly in the background of our lives. For Can and Demet, their truth is not one of forever together, but of forever remembered. And so the world remains captivated, stunned by the truth but unwilling to let go of the dream. Because when love is real, even if it doesn't last, it never truly disappears. It lingers, just like the memory of Can and Demet, two stars who collided, changed each other forever, and left behind a story that will always belong to them.